हेलो एवरीवन। फटाफट से मुझे बताओ कि am I perfectly visible and audible to you all? Good evening. Good evening, students. Good evening. I hope you all are really well and fine. And we'll be starting our session today. Just give me a thumbs up whether I'm perfectly visible and perfectly audible to you all. Hello, Kartike. Good evening, Kartike. Okay, so moving for the first question, and we are going to cover contracts today. And the first passage is on contingent contract. Contingent contract principle में हमें दिया हुआ है यहाँ पे वैसे तो contingent contract is a contract to do or not to do something depending on the occurrence or non-occurrence of that event that is collateral to the contract. So this is our principle, and it is what contingent contract is also the definition of it. So we have different questions today on certain respective topics, and then we'll be covering the questions for the same. Explanation for the same would be in a contingent contract, both parties must have a genuine interest in the occurrence or non-occurrence of the event. The event should be collateral to the agreement and not the solo basis of the contract itself. Simply put, the contract already exists between the parties, but its performance depends on the happening or non happening of a future event. You guys should also read the question the way I am reading it. Also, आंसर्स भी आपको ही देने हैं तो फॉर श्योर अच्छे से क्वेश्चन रीड करना, ठीक है. सो फैक्ट्स क्या बोलते हैं. सी वॉज अ टेनिस प्लेयर एंटर इनटू अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विद जीएस कंपनी बिफोर अ टूर्नामेंट. Under the contract, C was required to wear the company's logo on his shirt throughout the tournament in return for rupees 10 lakh rupees. The contract also stated that if C wins the tournament, the company would pay him an additional of rupees 2 lakhs. Decide whether this is a contingent contract or not. फटाफट से आंसर दो पहले इसका. कार्तिकी says the answer is D. Anusha also says D. Abdija also says D. कोई एक्सप्लेनेशन भी लिख के देना चाहेगा? Why it's D? Good, Naini. Good, very good that you have applied for CLAT exam. Explain me कि वो D क्यों होगा आंसर. ऑल्सो यहाँ पे एक बच्चे ने पूछा है कि व्हाट इज अ मेजर डिफरेंस बिटवीन अ वेजरिंग कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंड अ कंटिंजेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. वेजरिंग कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज बेसिकली where you play with the probability of happening something or non happening of something. और उस सिचुएशन में either you are losing or either you are winning. तो वहां पे एक lose और win वाली सिचुएशन होती है. Contingent contract में it's just a happening of a uncertain event which is like happening and not non happening of uncertain event. Suppose जैसे हम वेजरिंग की बात करते हैं, वेजर इज वेयर यू एक्चुअली play on something. Betting is basically wagering. कंटेंजेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की अगर मैं बात करूं तो अगर कल के दिन मैंने घर का इंश्योरेंस कराया था और माय हाउस इज बर्न डाउन, सो यस, फॉर दैट अकरेंस एंड नॉन अकरेंस ऑफ दैट सर्टेन काइंड ऑफ एन इवेंट, मेरे को इंश्योरर वुड बी इन अ कंटिजेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विद मी कि अगर कल के दिन इफ माय हाउस गेट अ फायर, उसमें आग लग जाती है, तो मुझे इंश्योरेंस का पैसा मिलेगा. दैट इज अ कंटिजेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दैट वी आर कमिंग अप विद. करेक्ट. Moving to the another question that is on wagering agreement. See, wagering agreement aa gaya. A wagering agreement is one where two persons holding opposite views about the outcome of a future uncertain event agree that depending on how the event turns out, one will win from other and the other will pay him a sum of money. For it be a wagering agreement, neither party should have any real interest in the event other than the stake involved. There must be a mutual chance of gain and loss. Facts: India and Pakistan qualified for the Cricket World Cup final. X declared that he would pay rupees 10 lakhs to each Indian player if India won the match. India won, and the players demanded payment from X. X refused, arguing that his promise was based on a future uncertain event and thus amounted to a wagering agreement. Decide. जल्दी बताओ आंसर. इजी पीजी आंसर है. The agreement was a wagering agreement as it was based on a future uncertain event. The agreement was a wagering agreement as there was no real consideration for the promise. The agreement was a wagering agreement as the parties had no real interest in the uncertain event. अब मुझे बताओ, इनमें से कोई जीत रहा था? There was someone who was winning and who was losing. The main party were winning and losing. Sure to guy, the agreement was a wagering agreement and it is based on a future uncertain event. Why? Give me the reasoning. Okay. And the answer being the A. Moving on. वेजरिंग वर्सेस कॉन्टिंजेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के बारे में बात करेंगे अब हम. So, I think principle being the same, a wagering agreement is an agreement between two persons holding opposite views about the outcome of a future or certain event. They agree that depending on how the event turns out, one shall win from the other and the loser shall pay him a sum of money. Neither party has any real interest in the event except the sum at stake. A wagering agreement is void. A contingent contract is a contract to do or not to do something, depending on the happening or non happening of an event that is collateral to the contract. A and B entered into an agreement where A promised to pay B rupees 1 lakh if B's car met with an accident. Later, the car actually met with an accident and the B demanded the payment. A refused, arguing that the agreement was a wagering agreement. B, on the other hand, claimed it was a contingent contract and filed a suit for enforcement. If you were the judge, how would you decide? Answer is very, very, very simple. Yes, the answer would be C because it's a thing that is the contingent contract. It is not where somebody is winning or losing. So yes, it would come under contingent contract. And answer would be C. Agency again one of the principles that we read. An agent is a person employed to do any act for another or to represent another in dealings with third persons. The person for whom such act is done or who is represented is called the principal. Explanation: the key test of agency is whether the person appointed has expressed or implied authority to represent the principal in dealing with third persons, thereby making the principal legally answerable. A moves to a new city, X. Before shifting, he asks his friends B to appoint a servant on his behalf for daily chores. B appoints C as A's helper. After A moves, C starts working in A's home. During his employment, C purchases household items from D, a local grocer, on credit, assuring D that A will pay. A is aware of this arrangement. Later, when D demands payment, A refuses, claiming that C had no express authority to act on his behalf. Is C and A an agent of A? I'm sorry. C is an agent of A as he has implied authority to act on his behalf. A was aware of the arrangement and never objected. If A wouldn't objected, this would not be an agency at the whole, right? But अगर A को पता था, तो this arrangement where would it come? Correct. A is the correct answer for the agency question. Bailment. Bailment between A and B. Delivery of goods by one person to another for a purpose under a contract that they shall, when the purpose is accomplished, be returned or disposed of as directed is called bailment. The person delivering the good is the bailer. The person receiving them is the bailee. A bailer must disclose known defects in goods that materially interfere with their use or expose the bailee to extraordinary risk. If it is bailment for hire, the bailer is liable even for defects he is unaware of. The fact shows A was going abroad for 2 months. His friend B asked to use A's car for daily use. A allowed him, saying he could keep it since A would be buying a new car soon. The car had faulty brakes, unknown to A. Later, B gave the car to C for 1 day in exchange for rupees 1000. While driving on a highway, C met with an accident because the brakes failed. C suffered injuries and claimed damages. Issue number one is whether A has bailed his car to B or not. Anusha says answer is going to be A. Kartikeya, what's your answer? Jeevan says it's P. A has not bailed his car to B as the necessary conditions of bailment have not been fulfilled. Okay. Was there bailment or not? द आंसर शुड बी बी, क्योंकि वहां पे उसने क्या किया, उसने बोला रख लो आप. लेकिन क्या सी और बी के बीच में बेलमेंट था? Correct. So what would be the answer? Answer for the question number fifth, issue number one would be B. Now coming to issue number two. Whether a contract of bailment has arisen between B and C making B liable. ये बताओ. Correct. So what would be the answer? अरे अनअवेयर कैसे था वो फॉल्ट के? यहाँ पे लिखा है a bailer must disclose known defects in goods that materially interfere with their use or expose the bailee to extraordinary risk. If it is bailment for hire, the bailer is liable even for defects he is unaware of. उसने 1,000 रुपए लिए तो कैसे लायबल नहीं है? आई थिंक द आंसर वुड बी डी. द आंसर वुड बी डी हियर. Indemnity का क्वेश्चन है. A contract by which one party promises to save the other from loss caused to him by the conduct of the promiser himself is called a contract of indemnity. A enter into a contract with B promising to make good any loss caused to B by A's conduct up to rupees 200. Later, A's son threw a lighted match into B's barn causing a fire. B sued A under the indemnity contract. बताओ जल्दी. A is liable, A is not liable, A is liable. Sure. A is not liable for the loss caused but to B. इसका वो रीजनिंग बताओ क्यों. अपनी रीजनिंग कमेंट बॉक्स में दे देना बाद में. Moving on, this is the last question for today. Partnership का question है. Principle is partnership is an agreement between two or more persons to share profits and loss of a business carried on by all and any of them acting for all. A, B, and C entered into an agreement. A invested money in a venture to be carried out by B and C as per the agreement. A was to get a fixed share of profits. The remaining profits were to be equally shared by B and C. A seed's money would be returned to him in any case. The venture went into losses. A abandoned his profit share but demanded the return of his seed money. Options A, B, and C have entered into a partnership agreement. A, B, C have not entered into a partnership agreement. Only B and C have entered into a partnership agreement. The relationship between the parties cannot be determined based on the given facts. Whether there was a partnership or not. पार्टनरशिप थी या पार्टनरशिप नहीं थी. Anusha says D. See, A, B, and C were sharing profits, right? They were to share the losses as well. ठीक है, losses की इसमें पूरी तरह से बात नहीं दी है, लेकिन in the end, if they were sharing profits, they might be sharing losses as well. So yes, A and B and C have entered into a partnership agreement, that is for sure. क्योंकि अगर वो प्रॉफिट शेयर कर रहे हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं वो लॉसेस भी शेयर करते हैं. बट देर इज नो गिवन स्टेटमेंट सो क्लियर दैट वो लॉसेस पक्का पक्का शेयर करेंगे ही करेंगे. सो वी आर वेरी मच कंफ्यूज बिटवीन A, B and C options. Here, the conclusion can be the relationship between the parties cannot be determined based on the given facts. अगर यहाँ पे सिर्फ लिखा होता कि agreement to or profits or losses, then we could have been covering only the profit part and said ABC have entered into a partnership agreement. But यहाँ पे तो उन्होंने and लिखा है कि होना चाहिए, profits भी होने चाहिए, losses भी होने चाहिए साथ, right? So that is not a clear statement given here, which I would suggest कि yes, B and C have entered into a partnership agreement, which can be a possible answer. कि B and C तो कर रहे थे क्योंकि वो लोग losses भी लेने वाले थे, but then A तो abandoned at all. So relationship between the parties cannot be determined based on the given facts. Is should be the correct answer. D should be the correct answer. But most probably इसका आंसर C भी हो सकता है. ठीक है, लेकिन C को होने के लिए यहाँ पे क्लियरली लिखा होना चाहिए था कि B and C वर एक्चुअली एक्सेप्टिंग कि ये दोनों लॉसेस भी ले रहे हैं, बट वो भी नहीं लिखा है. तो ऑन एंड होल द आंसर वुड बी डी. कैसी थी पार्टनरशिप? वो लॉसेस तो कवर कर ही नहीं रहे. बताओ जल्दी. अजम्पशन पे चलेंगे तो फिर तो ऑप्शन ए इज करेक्ट. अगर मैं अजम्पशन पे चलूंगी कि हाँ उनको उन्होंने लॉसेस भी अगर किए होंगे तो फिर ऑप्शन ए इज करेक्ट. बट यहाँ पे कुछ स्टेटेड नहीं है, राइट? और ए ने तो बैंडन ही कर दिया, वो तो सीड मनी मांग रहा है डायरेक्ट. तो कहीं ना कहीं वी आर नॉट क्लियर अबाउट द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन द पार्टीज, इसलिए आंसर शुड बी डी. एल्स हाँ, अगर वो प्रॉफिट शेयर कर रहे थे तो फॉर श्योर एबीसी वुड बी इनटू अ पार्टनरशिप अग्रीमेंट. I think that's all from my end. Go and follow our Telegram channel and our Instagram channel, and do subscribe the channel of YouTube as well. And we'll be coming up with such videos for you guys. Okay, bye bye.